Welcome back to episode 44 of the Second Look Sports Podcast. I'm your host today, Justin Arenburg, and joined along with me is Brandon Brown. Alex Mandarino is still busy with the work schedule, unfortunately, so just the two of us today, but we have a lot to talk about, including the first massive trade of the NHL's 2025-2026 season involving the Edmonton Oilers finally changing their goaltending. Brandon, what do you think of this deal that involves Stuart Skinner going to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for Tristan Jarry in return? I know there's more to the deal, but just on the premises, that is what everyone is talking about. Tristan Jarry is now the new goaltender of the Edmonton Oilers, and who Stan Bowman is taking a bet on to lead this team to a Stanley Cup championship, something that Stuart Skinner wasn't able to do in the last two seasons. What do you think of it?
You know, I'm kind of going back and forth on this one because it does feel like I would argue that the Oilers definitely upgraded their starting goalie position. By how much? I think that's
the
it's
thing.
still yet to be decided. We might be looking at a swap here where it may not make that much of a difference, in my opinion. I'm not sure that many people would have Tristan Jarry, in the upper echelon of goalies. We've seen flashes where he's looked really good, but we've also seen some bad times as well. And to me, that's reminiscent of what Stuart Skinner's career has been.
Yeah.
Except, Stuart Skinner obviously has had the benefit of playing behind at least a Stanley Cup final caliber team for the last couple of years. I would say Skinner's definitely been a huge part of that team, making it to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. But, a lot of people would say that he was one of the reasons why they, weren't higher in the standings at points and maybe giving them easier paths. But for the most part, he's played pretty well in some of these finals. So I'm really struggling with what Stan Bowman was thinking here in terms of giving up Skinner plus more. Yeah, to get Jarry, because I could argue if you told me that Jarry was going to Edmonton and Skinner was staying, I would say, well, okay, they've got a pretty formidable tandem there, and maybe that can help get it done. But at the same time, you take away Skinner, and now you're with Jarry and Pickard.
Yep.
It's kind of the same thing. So I don't know if you have any different thoughts on that, but that's kind of just where I'm sitting. I'm battling with it myself.
I mean, so you hit the nail on the head of the thing is like, how much of an upgrade is this? And then you're going to give up this much in return. And Tristan Jarry is a goaltender that everyone knows was on waivers last January, not even a year ago. And the guy makes $5.375 million per season, and he's on the books for the next 3 years. And the Edmonton Oilers got nothing in terms of salary retention from Pittsburgh. Like, this is an amazing job by Kyle Dubas. Amazing. Stuart Skinner could be flipped at the deadline. So could Brett Kulak. Both of them are expiring contracts. And yet you still get a second-round pick. Like, an amazing job by Kyle Dubas here to get rid of that $5.3 million, which he's been trying to get rid of that for such a long time. And to finally just be able to do it and not retain any salary. Like, it looked like they were going to have to retain 50% of that contract when they were trying to get rid of it before. But now, they get rid of it for nothing. Nothing. And that's the thing that, like, I don't get. Like, I understand the trade in terms of trading for Tristan Jarry or trading for any goaltender if you're the Edmonton Oilers, because you're trying to switch up this who's in net, like the change of scenery thing. Like, you really are hoping that that's what helps not only Stuart Skinner with his career, but like Tristan Jarry, like, give him the opportunity to play in front of a team like the Edmonton Oilers and really, thrive. But like, I look at this team and I'm like, how did you get better? Like, I don't, like, Tristan Jarry is not that an all world class goaltender. Like I said, like, he's on waivers. Like, Kyle Dubas is laughing at the fact that you just took that contract in full and gave him a second round pick and then two other, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Two other assets that he can then flip into more picks or prospects for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like, this is crazy to me. Pittsburgh, like, Great on Kyle Dubas. Great on Kyle Dubas. This is a trade that I think Sam Bowman is going to regret. I really do. Um, do you think the other thing is
The only thing I'll say though is and I'm not saying like this is what they're thinking. No one knows right now. And I know Bowman spoke earlier today, but I don't think he alluded to this. Is Skinner, like you said, is on an expiring deal. If at any for any reason they were looking ahead and being like, "Hey, we know regardless of what happens at the end of the season, we're going to let this guy walk, whatever the situation is," then I think that's kind of where they were at. Like, I think they were thinking maybe, oh, we got to get a guy who can keep our window going. Maybe they don't want to go into free agency being, kind
I
of
guess,
without a
but
guy. But
why give up
even
Brett
that,
Kulak? Why give up Brett
I don't
Kulak?
know. If you showed me this deal and you said the Oilers are giving up a goalie plus a player plus a pick, and the Penguins are giving a goalie back, you would either think, okay, the Oilers are giving up a terrible goalie or giving up a terrible contract, or the Penguins are sending, an amazing goalie for that. But it's
Or
almost like it's
or they're keeping 50% salary.
sure, but it almost feels like, yeah, neither of those are true. Where it's like the Oilers are giving up an NHL caliber goaltender, and they're getting back an NHL caliber goaltender who's, yes, maybe overpaid, and I guess that's where the confusion lies. Is why is Edmonton giving up extra when it should have maybe been the other way. Like I could
Yeah.
argue, you could make an argument that the Oilers should maybe receive a compensatory pick because they're taking
You're
on
taking
Jarry's
on
contract.
yeah.
So it's very, very confusing, and the only way it really makes sense is if Jarry somehow figures it out and they go on another run, and he looks great. Because I was looking at, there was a stat came out, Stuart Skinner's 27 and Jarry's 30. Skinner has 7 playoff series victories
Yes,
under his
so
belt, and Jarry has 0.
this
So
is what I was gonna also go to.
what is the point?
Stan Bowman goes like, "Oh yeah, he has like a really good track record, and that's what we looked at."
Not
Okay,
in the playoffs.
he's played 8 playoff games in his career. Two of them he got hurt, so I'm not gonna like say like, "Oh look at these numbers," but the one playoff series where he played all 6 games, he had a he went two wins, 4 losses, a 3.18 goals against average, and an 888 save percentage. Like how does that have a track record in the playoffs of being good? Like
I don't know.
that this is insane to me. I know like I put out a video already, like if you I'm assuming that everyone watches this. You see the video that I put out, and I got people in the comments section like flaming me saying that I don't know anything and that I'm stupid, and I look at them and I look at the comments and I say, Edmonton Oilers fan? Yes. Edmonton Oilers fan? Yes. I checked their bio. Like, I understand why they're doing it. Like, they're like, I gotta get in the comments and defend my team that just made this trade. And I understand that. I agree. You should do that. But trust me, in the long run, you're gonna be thinking this is an absolute stupid idea. And also, Stan Bowman, that 2029 second round pick, I honestly don't think he cared about that because he's probably thinking if this doesn't work out, I'm probably fired anyway, so that's not my problem. Like I really think that is what he went
Yeah.
into his
Yeah,
like
and I mean,
his
and
thought
you
process.
pair that with McDavid taking the short deal, which would expire, I think,
Exactly.
around the same time. Like he's probably
Exactly.
thinking like, hey, this is the end of my window around, yeah, 2029, 2030, whatever the year is. But it's so true, like you said. I think whether it's Oilers fans or the organization in general, like I think they've gotten warped into this thinking of, subtraction will be addition regardless of what is brought back. Similar to like how Leafs fans were thinking, oh, Mitch Marner's, he was so bad in the playoffs, he's gone. Now their team's going to be better in the playoffs. It's like, well, yes, but you still got to be a team. You got to get there. You got to go through all that, right? So I think people thought, oh, anybody but Skinner for the playoffs, whatever. If they're an NHL caliber goalie, we'll take them, give them a shot, whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I really think that they missed their opportunity this offseason to really upgrade in a significant way. And yeah, they're kind of at the mercy now because you bring in a contract where unless Jarry plays well and kind of shows that he is worth that money or can be shopped somewhere else if need be, like they're in a worse spot, I would say, than they were before. So I don't really
Yeah,
know
they are. After
what the
this year, I
long
would
term
say they
yeah,
are.
right?
Like,
Like if they don't win a cup this year, if somehow miraculously like they don't or they do figure it out, everyone looks like a genius. But if it doesn't happen, yeah, like their long term outlook is no better than if they were to, go through it this year with Skinner, maybe retain him at a lower number, or sign a higher caliber goalie if there is one out there, or make another trade when you have more flexibility in the offseason. So it is one of the more confusing things. I can't say I was really
like
like, heave ho for the Oilers when I saw this. It's sort of confusing.
Tristan Jarry has played 307 games in the regular season, and Stuart Skinner has played 197. You want to hear what their goals against average is in their
Can I
career?
guess?
Yeah, take a
Can I
guess.
guess? I don't actually know these, but I mean, I'm guessing they're very similar. Like I can't imagine that they're that much different.
We'll take a guess what they are. Just
Okay.
take a stab.
I'm gonna say Jari. So over 300 games, I'm gonna say his goals against is somewhere like 2.8, somewhere
Okay.
maybe, and I'd say Skinner's is probably probably lower, just because maybe because he has it's probably around the same. Like I would say both of them are like sub 3 goals against average, and I would say both of them would be around like 905 to 910 save percentage.
You
Like
are
I
exactly dead on. Like,
okay,
both of these goalies have the exact same goals against average, 2.74
wow,
in their
yeah.
careers. And Stuart Skinner has a 904 save percentage in his career, and Tristan Jarry has a 909. Like,
Yeah, I mean that they profile both of them as like league average goalies. Like I don't
yes,
really see again. There's no upgrade to me in this other than you have some long term stability, but it's not exactly
at a
great in terms of
much
the
higher
value.
cost.
Yeah,
Like,
but
at a much higher
again,
cost.
the performance, yeah, if Jari has closer to a 910, maybe that gives them a little bit more confidence that hey, he can stop the puck when asked to. But yeah, like they're both giving up. It feels like the same amount of production. It's not going to be a huge, boost in terms of huge saves or stops from Jari that you wouldn't have expected from Skinner. Like they again, they're both just kind of league average guys that can get the job done, but neither one or the other, I would say, are stars or going to be too
I
much
would
better than the
argue
other.
I would argue that Tristan Jarry's only had one good season in his entire career. Like, realistically, outside of the 2021-2022 season where he played 56 games, had a 34 and 18 record, a 2.42 goals against average, and a 919 save percentage, he's been a league average goalie at best. At best. Last year, he was the worst goaltender in the league. There's a reason he was put on waivers and no one claimed him.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to give up this much for this goaltender. Now, here's the thing. If they gave up this much and it was for UC Saros, I love the deal. Because that has potential. That has the upside that Tristan Jarry has proven not to have.
oh for sure.
UC Saros has been a stud goaltender before. He's struggling now for sure, and he's probably on the same level, if not worse than Tristan Jarry right now, but at least you know that you're trading for a goaltender with tons of potential. Like, this deal to me, it's a lateral move in terms of goaltending, and then what you're giving up on top of that is just it's crazy to me. It's crazy. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
shocked. I'm shocked that they did this. I get it. I get that they were desperate to make a move and switch up who was playing in front of the defense. I get it. I really get it. But this feels like desperation. Like, and it just feels like
absolutely.
Kyle Dubas could have done whatever he could have asked for whatever he wanted, and Stan Bowman at the end of the day was eventually going to cave. Because Elliot Friedman said, like, they talked last week, or he got reports last week that they had talked about this, and Edmonton didn't feel like they could even go to that place because it was too much of an asking, or too much of an ask. And yet a week later, we're here and they just win a game 4-1 against the Detroit Red Wings, and they're like, nah, okay, let's go give up Brett Kulak. And I love Brett Kulak as well. I think that's a solid third pair defenseman. Like,
Well, they've
I
lost
don't,
between that and this the Stetcher waiver claim, obviously, like,
yeah, like, I don't,
their depth on defense has gone down this season so far. Yeah, like,
I
clearly,
don't,
I
yeah,
I thought they would
it's,
try to get deeper in net, but that hasn't happened. Like, I don't know. I really don't
I
know
don't get it.
what
I
they're doing.
really don't
Yeah.
get it. I mean, credit to the fans for going to bat for your GM in my comment section, but other than that, like I had one person I said because I said like for the worst goaltender in the league, I said like in the video he was the worst goaltender in the league. Someone commented, "Not true. Gorgiev was worse than him last year." Okay, you can argue that, sure, but the point stands that he was that bad that you're comparing him to Gorgiev. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not
Yeah.
good. It's not
No.
good. Like, I am mind boggled by this. That is the lead story of the day. First massive trade in the NHL, as we said. Uh, yeah, shake up in Edmonton. We'll see what happens. Maybe Tristan Jarry becomes Patrick Wall over the next 7 months. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to watch, though. Moving on to the next topic in the NHL, we're just going to stay with the goaltending front. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Uh, Obviously, Joseph Wall, Anthony Solar. No one even knows where Anthony Solar is. Like, he could be off in Antarctica just fishing right now. No one knows. No one knows. He could be in Germany getting a hair transplant. No one knows. Is that even the place? No, it's Turkey. It's
Yeah,
Turkey.
Turkey usually.
Sorry, my
Germany
bad. My
is
bad.
where Matthews went to get,
Yeah,
looked at, I
Germany's where
guess.
Matthews went to go get his back checked out. Like, I don't know. Anyways, Joseph Wall, he gets injured after playing 8 and 9 games. Um, so Dennis Hildeby, he's been great. I have no bad comments to say about Dennis Hildeby. I think he's been really solid for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the only question is, if Wall does not come back Saturday, um, how much further can you push Hildeby? Because you already figured out what you did with the first two goalies. You pushed them and they broke immediately and they went back to the injured list. So how much longer can you push Hildeby and get him to start consecutive games before you have to give him a rest? Even if Joseph Wall isn't back in time for that.
I mean, it's a good question. I think the good thing is that Hildeby, from my understanding, does not have the same history of injury
Injury.
that Woll and Stolars has, which is great. He's a younger guy too. I think he's like 24, 25 years old. So that's a plus. And I think you're right. Like, from my understanding, Berube was speaking today, and Wall's not going to play Saturday, but he's sounds like he's in play to play on Tuesday against Blackhawks. So if
Yeah.
that's the case, that's probably a best case scenario for the Leafs. I think Woll, anytime he leaves the net, there's always a worry that it's going to be longer than you think. And especially the way that the Leafs have been kind of communicating injuries. It's, day to day and then it's month to month. So it's one of those things where we might be getting off lucky here in terms of, the Leafs getting one of their guys back. There was some talk about Stolars today as well from Berube. It sounds like he's not skating yet. But apparently the phrase he uses is that it's not season ending. So,
Oh, so
hey,
he's gone
make of
for.
that what you will, whether he'll be back in
So this guy,
January at this point, February, like, what are we I don't know what we're talking about, but yeah.
this guy leaves the game on November 11th versus the Boston Bruins. It doesn't even look like he's injured during that game,
Oh, because he got
and
lit
then
up.
just
Yeah.
skates off the ice that he's never seen of again. And the guy's making what?
So
Is it $4 million a season now?
I'd have to double check, but he has, I don't know how often, but he was seen. I don't know if you saw this after their win on,
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
guess it
There's a
was on
picture of
Tuesday.
him.
There was a photo of him with
Yeah.
Wall and Hildeby and their backup now, Artur Aktiamov. They were all four of the goalies. They were, but he was there, which I think is that is like kind of relieving. But at the same time, it's very strange that we're past a month now and he hasn't skated. There's no diagnosis.
That's the
I,
other thing that pisses me off,
yeah.
man.
Well,
That's the
that's
other
been
thing
going
that,
around. Yeah.
like, it's a lot of teams are transparent, a lot more transparent than the Leafs. Like, it's annoying. Like, oh yeah, Brandon Carlo had surgery a week ago. He should be out a month. Oh, that would've been nice to know. Like, I I don't know how the NHL is not, like, enforcing this more, like, you gotta be on top of, like, your injury reports. Like, we see it in the NFL. Someone hits the injury report, you know the day of. You know exactly what they're dealing with. You know exactly, are they limited? Are they full participants in practice? What's wrong with them? How long are they supposed to be out for? The coach gives the information. But the Toronto Maple Leafs just go, he's day to day. And then it turns into month to month. And then it goes, oh, like this is literally the Stolar's progression. Day to day. Oh, he's week to week. Now he's, well, I don't know. He's not skating. Oh, it's not season ending though. Like, how is that allowed? You can't tell me this should be allowed, especially in a world where there is sports gambling and like a lot of gamblers I'm sure want to know who's going to be in the lineup that night for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that has
Well,
to
and
matter.
even you talk about like futures and betting, like on the play, like
Yeah.
people. I'm sure, yeah, like I have a feeling like this is going to end at some point. Like at least the Leafs' ability to be as mysterious as they have been over the last couple of years, and we know it was whether it was Austin Matthews or Brendan Shanahan or however this whole thing started, they certainly have taken it and they now apply it to every injury that ever happens on this team, and
Yeah.
that is a bit concerning. Like you said, I think in more ways than one, I think it's more important for a professional league to be transparent than they are to be mysterious.
Yes.
So
100%.
I think it's going
Like,
to be one of those things that the league looks at eventually and says, "Hey, we need to know more." And even if they hit like, even if they put out like a bare minimum of like, we need to know a serious timeline, or we need to know the area of, and like something to kind of just
because
let
basically
people
right
know.
now the Leafs day to day is 4 weeks at the
Well,
minimum.
I would say at this point, like I don't know how I don't think you can trust anything
That the Leafs are
that Craig
saying.
Berube
No.
ever says about a player's injury at this point. If a player leaves a game, there's absolutely no barometer other than maybe how he acts. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's a great example. We saw him leave the game against the Sharks. He looked like he was in considerable pain. I think you would say, "Hey, he's not putting a lot of weight on that." I think it was his left foot that he injured, or maybe his ankle. But say, hey, he's not able to get off the ice on his own. He looks like he's in considerable pain. You would maybe project this to be a week to week or a longer injury, and then they come out and say, yeah, well, it's really not that bad. So again, are they telling the truth? We don't know. But like, there's something about no matter what the situation is, they want to put their own little spin on it and make it
Yeah.
seem like
Yeah.
either it's not that big of a deal, or they want to completely avoid giving more details
Talking about it.
for whatever
Like,
reason.
and it's like, they think that other teams are going to use it, and it's like, no, it's also like everyone wants to kinda know, like, "Hey, how long is this guy gonna be out of the lineup for?" Like, Chris Tanev, when's the update coming on him? Like, oh, he goes, "I don't know, maybe tomorrow." Like, he's been gone for how long, and we still don't have an update on him? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's
that's the thing is like the Tanev one I think is a little bit different because of what we kind of understand now to be the severity of the injury. But you're right. That leads you to believe when they talk about it that way that somebody who has a more minor injury or a setback or something that's not serious, when they talk about it in such, veiled ways, you have no impression as to what is going to happen at all. And that's where it kind of leads into this point where, like I said, I don't think anybody is going to really trust what's coming out of the Leafs right now,
no.
and there's no reason to do so. So again, it's concerning, and I think the league will look at it eventually. But
I'm
I don't
shocked that
know.
no one stepped in though, like, at all this year, like, because 'cause it's been with every single injury of the Toronto Maple
Yeah,
Leafs.
it's gotten worse for sure. Yeah,
It's it's just so untransparent, and and I mean, is it just downright lying? Like, about your players' injuries? Like, you're just you're literally just saying, "Oh, he's day to day," even though you probably know because he's out for this period of time. He's not day to day. If it's day to day, they come back within 2 to 3 days at the max. Like, if you're day to day and you are out 4 to 6 weeks, just say he's out 4 to 6 weeks. It's not like people are gonna be upset with that. It's like they think that people are gonna be upset to say, "Yeah, Chris Tanev, he needs surgery because of this massive problem, and we respect that, so we're just gonna tell him to go get that surgery." And they think, "Oh, the fans are gonna, either teams are gonna target him now, or, players are going to or the fans are gonna be like, I don't know, this seems kinda scary, man. Like, how could they do this?" Like, no, just say the injury, just say give it the time. Like, I don't know, do they have to start doing press conferences with doctors now? Like, because they can't, like.
Well, and that's a good point. Is like either they're purposefully misleading people, or they're trying to be honest, and they're maybe like their training staff has no idea what's that. Like I don't understand. Like if that was the
That's
case, then
even
like
worse.
yeah, like that's
That's
the worst
worse.
situation. So you'd think like you'd want to at least dispel some of the idea that yeah, you're like kind of a sneaky organization that way now. But yeah, and it's not helping them either because
No.
the guys get injured and they seem to take way longer to get back. Uh, I just really don't know what they think is like the benefit to it. Whether or not teams are
Yeah,
going to
that's exactly what it
target
is.
guys
Exact
like I
What
don't
is the
know.
benefit of doing it?
Yeah.
What do you gain from lying about this information?
Yeah, and if, like you said, if you're so scared that other players are gonna target your specific body areas, well, that's the point of having kind of a base level across the league. Is if everyone's transparent, you have as much right to do that as
Exa
another team is going to look at you. And if players are able to police themselves out there by saying, "Hey, if you're gonna take a run at our guy, we know what's going on with your guy." Like that's how hockey has always been played. So yeah, it's just like it's very interesting, and I'd love to, one day if this ever does end up, going away, I'd love to hear really what the what
uh,
the thought
the
process was
Leafs are the
behind some of it.
team, though, I find. Like, I don't find it's this bad across the league. Like, I
No,
find that, like, most people are transparent. Like, Jared McCann goes out, I think it was, like, a day or 2 ago, and the team announced he's out for 3 weeks today
yeah, the
with a
Logan
lower
Cooley
body.
one, like the Cooley one,
Logan
like he
Cooley,
goes out
they
there almost immediately. I think it was the next day or the day after. They're
they're
like,
trying
"Hey,
to figure out
lower
after
body,
surgery,
8 weeks. This is what we're projecting." Like, there
and
you go.
now it's and then they made it clear, like, we're
Yeah,
reevaluating him after 8 weeks.
yeah, yeah. So,
Like,
like,
that's not
if
that
that was
hard to get.
if
Like,
if that was the Leafs, we might not hear an update like that for 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line,
that's
right?
what I
And it's like,
mean.
why? What's the point?
And then to come out and say, "Yeah, Brandon Carlo had surgery a week ago." Oh, you didn't think that was important to say? Like, that's the type of stuff that's just like, how can you believe anything that is coming out of Craig Brube's mouth? You can't.
Yeah. Well, and then the funny thing too is they're gonna get mad at the media, at fans for speculating, and it's like, well, then what are
Well,
we supposed to do
exactly.
when we have no information? We
And they
see
get
how other
mad when
teams operate. Like,
they
come
get
on.
mad when the media asks every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like he's frustrated because you're asking. Okay, well, just give us a freaking report then. If you
Yeah.
gave us the report, I guarantee you'd stop getting questions because, hey, Stolars is out for a month. Okay, we won't ask about Stolars for the next month then. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 weeks later, "Oh, how's Stolars doing?" Instead of every single day, "Where's Stolars? Where's Stolars? How's Chris Tanev? How's Brandon Carlo?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, they
Yeah.
would make it so much easier on their own, like, for Craig Berube himself. Like, I don't know if it's Craig Berube. Like, I'd have to go back and listen to his reports in St. Louis if he did this in St. Louis, or is this like you said, Brendan Shanahan type thing down where it's Brad Living relaying, "Hey, don't say anything. Don't say anything because that's bad."
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know. Like, I do have a feeling that Austin Matthews has something to do with this. Like, just because, as you said before, that this wasn't really the case with every player on the Leafs. Like, going back a couple years ago when Matthews really started to have his kind of uptick in injuries, it did feel like he was kind of separate from the rule where he maybe we wouldn't necessarily know. We'd maybe have an idea. We knew he had a wrist thing at one point, but like, yeah, it was so, kept behind the curtain that
Yeah.
you didn't really know what was going on with him specifically. Meanwhile, you'd have other guys have injuries, and it felt like we kind of got more information, and it was just held to a different standard. But now it feels like, yeah, they've raised that standard, and everybody is subject to that same treatment. And for better or for worse, like I don't really know what the thought process behind it is. Again, if it's just the targeting or just the thought process that they can, manipulate their maybe lineups easier without teams knowing who's coming in and out. Like, I don't really know. There may be some use cases where it may be, usable or helpful in some ways, but I really don't see how it just doesn't create like kind of chaotic feeling, especially in the locker
Yeah.
room. Like, I imagine everyone knows what's going on with every guy there, but like, everyone's asking around. You got media, like you said, like there's a lot of kind of confusion. These guys have to keep secrets, probably not that they, are usually expelling that information before, but it just like creates like a different level of separation in the locker room, I think, too.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree. We've spent way too much time on it, but it's definitely a topic of concern because for the NHL, it just doesn't have a good professional look to me. Like, you're the National Hockey League. This should be standard. It's standard in
yeah,
every other league.
yeah,
Why can
yeah.
you not make it standard?
And you're seeing the NBA especially taking steps in terms of, we've seen multiple fines this season to teams
Yeah.
for
False.
incorrect injury
Yeah.
reports. So I mean, yeah, like the NFL has been the gold standard for this for a little bit now, and yeah, like I can't imagine that the NHL won't feel some sort of pressure to eventually go to more of a standardized model.
Especially with
Yeah,
betting.
yeah, yeah.
Especially with betting. Because, like, if you bet something in the like, with the thought that, "Oh, Cristiano's day to day, he might be back tonight, so let me just place a bet." Like, and then he's out for a month. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of like, it's just it's ridiculous. Like, it's it's just unprofessional in my opinion. Anyway, moving on to the last topic of the NHL. We're sticking with goalies. It's been a podcast of goalies today, and we have to stay with the Montreal Canadiens prospect that just got called up, Jacob Fowler. Brandon, I just want you to like describe to the listeners how long I've been saying Jacob Fowler will be the next franchise goalie for the Montreal Canadiens.
No, I mean, you've been on that for as long as I've known you. I feel like,
Yep.
which is only about almost 2 years, I guess, at this point. But wow, that's insane. But yeah, like I feel like, yeah, even last year, as great as Montembeault looked last year, and Jacob Dobish has looked great at times too. Like, you've been on that horn of saying, yeah, but Jacob Fowler's the next one. He's going to be the guy who comes in, settles the crease for the Habs a little bit, and maybe is their number one guy for the future. And he certainly showed he's got that in him against the Penguins. Great game from him. I think it was over 30 saves or close to 30 saves. Got the
36
win.
saves on
Yeah,
38 shots.
yeah, got the win. He looked great. He looked steady. Like the
He looked
Habs looked
calm.
comfortable. Yeah,
That's the
there
word I
was.
would use. Like, it was a sense of a calmness to his game that you haven't seen with
Yeah.
Montembeault or Dobish in a long time.
Well, I mean, Dobish definitely not. I mean, definitely seems like he's
Once
kind of up and down, but
once he did that, like, emotional breakdown after the New Jersey game, like, it's just been
yeah,
downhill for him.
yeah. Yeah,
Confidence has
and
been
you
gone.
and I think you're right. Like Fowler, there was that moment where I forget the Penguins player, but he hit the post, and you saw Fowler kind of cracked a little smile afterwards, and it was just like, oh yeah, this guy, he seems to have fun. He enjoys what he's doing. He looks, like you said,
Yeah.
calm, confident. Like, yeah, he looked like he will belong. And whether they choose to keep him around for the foreseeable future, or they send him back down to give him more time and eventually bring him back up again, I don't know
Yeah.
the specifics
I can't see
around.
this
Maybe you can.
being I can't see this being like a 40 games like he's called up for. Like, I think this is more
Yeah.
like a uh let Montembeault and Dobish try to figure it out because
Well, that's what I
like
was gonna ask you, is like the call up itself, that was just basically performance based, right? Like, you had Montembeault and
performance based
Dobish,
by who? Montembeau
but
or Fowler?
well, I'm sure Fowler was playing great in the American League, but I'm saying like Montembeault and Dobish to an extent, like there was no injury, right? Like they just were playing poor.
No, no, no. It's just performance based.
Yeah,
They can't
yeah,
stop a puck right now. They can't even stop a
yeah.
beach ball. So yeah, it's just performance based. But like Jacob Fowler, this is his first full season in the AHL, and to me, like, I did not think now was the time to call him up, only because I understand that Montreal is in the playoff race and they should be a playoff team this year, and I fully believe that. And I think Samuel Montembeault is a decent goaltender who's gonna figure it out eventually. But I just was like, don't ruin Jacob Fowler's development. Like, I really want him to, play at least one full season in the AHL, maybe even two full seasons in the AHL before you call this guy up. Because yes, I think he's going to be the next franchise goaltender. you still need to develop these goaltenders. Like, he's 21 years old, I believe. An average goaltender doesn't really come into the NHL until they're like 24, 25. That's just the way of goaltending. And that's just no disrespect to any goaltender. That's just, the normal of how long it takes to develop a goaltender into an NHL starting goaltender. But Jacob Dove, or oh my gosh, Jakob Dobish and Samuel Montembeault have been struggling so bad that they had to force the hand and call up Jacob Fowler. Like, it wasn't like I don't like I can say for certain that there is no way that Montreal wanted to call up Jacob Fowler this early in the season. Like, no way. They were fully anticipating Samuel Montembeault and Jakob Dobish to be able to carry this thing and just let Jacob Fowler develop down in Laval. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Fortunately, though, Jacob Fowler looked pretty darn impressive. And like I said, I really think this is the franchise goaltender. I could see them moving off Samuel Montembeault or Jakob Dobish in the coming years, because Jacob Fowler is going to be their number one.
I mean, yeah, I think it's easy to see Montembeault especially potentially moving on to another squad or yeah, like I don't know. I think there was some hype for him, but to me, Dobish, the way that he's come out so early, and I assume he's the younger of the two,
Yeah, yeah, he is the younger.
um, he's looked good. He's had real
Yeah,
flashes, and I think he could benefit too from that kind of like from another calming influence, whether it's a younger player to give him some confidence in the locker room, or just having that ability to maybe yeah, like have a guy who
like
he can kind of depend on a little bit more instead of even if Dobish is maybe the starter for a couple of years
I
going forward.
anticipate
But,
Fowler will be with the team until Christmas.
well, that was going to be my question: is like there has there been any indication of when he's going to get his next start?
No, I like some are talking like even Saturday night in Madison Square Garden. I don't think that will happen. I think that they'll give the start to maybe Fowler or maybe Dobish, but it wouldn't shock me if they said, "Hey Fowler, go run with it." Like, we got to give
Right.
Montembeau a week here to go figure himself out and try to just practice, because that's literally what he's doing. Like, Marty St. Louis came out and said, like, we're just gonna let him practice. We're just gonna try and regain his confidence by doing that. The crazy thing to me, and the thing that I'm holding in my phone right now, is Montreal goaltenders to make their first start versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Did you see the stat?
Yes.
Did you see the performances of those four goaltenders?
Yes, they're very good.
Yeah, so Ken Dryden, if you don't know what we're talking about, Ken Dryden, Patrick Watt, Carey Price, and Jacob Fowler have all made their NHL debuts against the Pittsburgh Penguins. The previous three, you could say, three of the best goaltenders in NHL history. Ken Dryden, March 14th, 1971, a 5-1 win, 35 saves. Patrick Watt, October 10th, 1985, 5-3 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins and 24 saves. Carey Price, October 10th, 2007, a 3-2 win, 26 saves. Jacob Fowler, December 11th, 2025, a 4-2 win with 36 saves. Anyway, it's not you can't it's just one game. You can't really say, "Oh yeah, he's going to be that good," but like it's a pretty cool stat. I think that's a really interesting stat,
Yeah.
and to be able to share that, cuz like a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's the fourth goaltender to start," like, or like he's the he's following Ken Dryden, Patrick Waugh, and Carey Price to start against the Pittsburgh Penguins. But what if it would have went bad? Then you would have really been talking about that. The fact that he was dominant in the performance, I would say, was very impressive. Also, stopping Sid 7 times, I believe, is what it was last night. That's gonna be pretty cool to do in your NHL debut. Like
Yeah,
that's
no.
pretty cool.
Definitely a night the kid will never forget. And yeah, I think it's a great kind of way to start your career. And yeah, maybe like yeah, obviously I doubt the Canadians had the history of it all in mind, but like again, just more confidence to the kid to
Yeah,
be
that
put in
was.
that conversation with some of the greatest goaltenders, definitely in the organization. But yeah, like in hockey history, like it's got to feel great, and it'll only give the kid more confidence as he continues to build his career. And yeah, I think as I'm sure Habs fans are super excited to see what the kid's going to be able to do for the next 10 years if they're able to put something together with him.
Yeah, they definitely before the season were like, "Yeah, December 11th, circle it. Jacob Fowler's making his debut against the Pittsburgh Penguins," only because of the history.
Exactly. I doubt it.
I got a text last night from one of our old classmates. It literally just said 2 words, "Jacob Fowler." That's all it said.
Who's
I
that,
like
Dylan?
Yep, the hype is real. The hype is real. Listen, it's exciting times for the Montreal Canadiens, and you like they've had a bunch of prospects. They have a bunch of young guys that you think that we talk about on a daily basis. Jacob Fowler was not one of those guys that everyone kind of knew about, but he's going to be. And that's the main thing I think going forward. Everyone's going to start to pay a little bit more attention to Jacob Fowler. Moving on though, we're done with the NHL. That's a lot to talk about in the NHL, but you know what? And we didn't even touch on any American teams, but Canadian teams just keep on dominating the market.
Is Fowler American? He is, isn't he?
He is American.
Yeah,
What were you gonna
classic.
say? Call him up to Team Canada
No,
right now?
I wasn't gonna say that, but I was gonna say, hey, like hopefully this kid's Canadian because we could use a good young Canadian
No,
goalie at some point. But
no,
I had a feeling he was from down
he's
south.
American, and he's from Florida. Um, the only Canadian really prospect goaltender that we have, I think, is Carter George. Like, I think that's the only big one that's on the come up. They need some Canadian goaltenders to start, or some parents to start letting their player or kids play goalie. Because it's bad. It's bad. It is bad.
Yeah. It's a few more millionaires down south who can afford to do that than up here.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You gotta maybe I heard them say on Overdrive last night. Maybe you just gotta start letting the goaltender play for free, and just everyone else pay, but the goaltender you can play for free. That way, we can get some more goaltenders in the game and start developing them that way. Because how else are we gonna get anyone into be a great Canadian goaltender?
I don't hate that idea at all. Like yeah, you're right. Like
like
you need something to get these numbers boosted because yeah, like
you do.
it's pretty tough out there.
It is really, really tough out there. I mean, these goalies, you look at them and after the three, you would even if Jordan Bennington really should not be on the Canadian team. And the only reason he's on the Canadian team is because of what he's done in the past. By his numbers this year, he's the worst goaltender in the NHL. Like, you know what I mean? It's pretty bad. Anyway, moving on to the NFL. No, or December 11th, 2025 is also going to be the day that you go back and you say, where were you when you watched Kyle Pitts absolutely torch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 150 plus yards? I think it was 166 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. This was the game everyone was waiting for. Everyone thought this was what was going to come when the Atlanta Falcons drafted Kyle Pitts 4th overall. I think it was back in the 2021 draft, to be honest. And it's just never happened for the past 4 years, I think. And now finally, you see it. You see it. Did you watch that game last night? And were you just taken away by Kyle Pitts' performance?
I mean, I was back and forth with the Leafs game, but after that finish, yeah, I watched most of the second half. And yeah, I was definitely shocked. I mean, we haven't seen a performance from that guy like that in his career, obviously, but barely have we seen shades of that even. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of it has to do with the level of quarterbacks that he's been playing with. I mean, no shade to guys like Michael Penix or Mariota in past years, or um, I don't even going back before that. Like who have the
They had
Falcons? Who's even been
oh
throwing
my
at the ball?
gosh.
So,
Oh my gosh, who they have oh my gosh.
but either
I'm gonna
way,
have to look it up. I'm gonna have to
yeah,
look it up.
no, do your thing. But I was gonna say, Kirk Cousins has been around a while, and I know he's not what everybody thinks he used to be, or he's not, in the top echelon of guys, but he can still sling it. And I think the one thing with him is he's going to find the best, players on the team. He's going to find the best receivers, and that's what he's done historically. Whether it was when he was with Washington, when he was with Minnesota, he's always had a good connection
Of
with his number ones. So I think the one thing for me is like, yeah, I watched that game, and especially at the end when he's doing, what veteran quarterbacks do, and he's finding a way to win. It's like, would this team have been closer to the playoffs, maybe in the playoff hunt, if Cousins had been playing throughout the season? Because he certainly looked like he was happy to hand the ball off and pitch it off to Bijan when he needed to do that. But yeah, he was looking downfield a little bit. He's had connections with Mooney in the past. He looked like he's establishing a good connection with Kyle Pitts. So it's definitely one of those things where maybe Raheem Morris and the Falcons are looking back like, maybe we should have given this guy a chance and let Penix continue to develop. But it is what it
Well,
is, and that's kind of how you do it in the NFL these days. But yeah, it was
Raheem
definitely an interesting
Morris
game.
is gonna be fired, I think. Like, he has to be fired. Um, I think that if anything, Kirk Cousins' trade value went up last night, and I think that a lot of teams should be calling this offseason maybe the Minnesota Vikings to bring him back into the fold.
Yeah.
Um, but you know who the quarterback was that I was thinking about here? Desmond Ritter.
Oh
Desmond
man, don't
Ritter.
even get me started. Like, look at these. Like, you think a guy like Kyle Pitts is going to shine and be able to reach his peak as a young player in the league when he's got Desmond Ritter throwing him
Desmond
the ball?
Ritter throwing the
No.
ball. And Taylor Heineke was the other one that was.
Oh my gosh. I feel bad now for those guys. Oh,
Oh
that's tough.
man.
But yeah, like it just goes to show like how much a real, not to say like, yeah, those guys, they did their thing. They were probably great college quarterbacks. Heineke had a little bit of a moment with Washington as well, but when you
Do
get
you
a
wanna
real quarterback in there, it can completely change the way your offense looks. So
I
it's yeah.
agree. Do you wanna know how many games Desmond Ritter started for the Atlanta Falcons?
Oh, it was more than a few. I know that. It's got to be like close to a full season, like 15, 16 games. That's what
19 games he
yeah,
started for the Atlanta
yeah. That's
Falcons.
crazy.
Kirk Cousins has only started 21.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
It's like,
mean? Like,
yeah,
and
again, like
Michael
you
Penix has started 14.
yeah. And I get it, like Penix at the end of last year when they gave him a shot, he looked great and it looked like there was shades of things to come, but I still don't necessarily think that that means, hey, throw him in there and see what happens in a full
Yeah,
season. It's
yeah.
like, hey, you got a guy that I think could have won you more games this year, and of course, when it comes to injuries, you can't really predict that, but yeah, like I don't know, it's just that's one thing in the NFL. It feels like if teams and coaches get so wrapped up in the thought that they have their guy and that then their guy's the
Yes.
next guy, and I
Yes.
think that kind of creates you know problems for
Prime
teams
example,
when they make
9.
yeah, they try to
9.
make that jump too soon, and you, Vikings could have had Sam Darnold still slinging it this year. They'd probably
Or
be a playoff
Daniel
team again.
Jones.
Daniel Jones as well was available, and he was on that team too. Like I feel like sometimes like you look at the quarterback position, and as much as people want to make that flip where it's like, okay, it's a young man's league now. It's the quarterback's got to be young, you got to be cheap. It's like no, you can still probably do more with a veteran guy who's shown what he can do in the past. At least for small samples. I'm not saying the Falcons should have hitched their wagon to Kirk Cousins for the next 5 years, but 1 or 2 years where he can go out and win some games for you is like yeah, like you should try to do that instead of trying to just make that change immediately and then you're gonna like have to live with what happens because it
Yeah.
created problems too in the locker room. 100%. There's no way Kirk Cousins
Yep.
was happy. He
Oh,
wanted to get
yeah.
traded too. Like
He's
that
been requesting a
probably
trade for over a year now, like.
yeah, like that 100% has again, it's just another layer to why that team wasn't able to be successful this year. And I think they need to yeah look at everything. And if yeah maybe Morris, unfortunately for him, he's the one making these decisions, so maybe it'll come down to him. But yeah,
Should
it's
be
one of those things
fired.
where it's gonna be interesting. What did you think of, the other side, Todd Bowles
Yeah,
and
so this
his,
is this is the other thing. The other side of the story is the Bucks are a complete disaster. Like, they are going to lose the NFC South. And I did not think, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year the Carolina Panthers would have made the or the NFC play or the NFL playoffs in general, if you would have told me that they would be making the playoffs, I would tell you you are absolutely insane. And let alone win the division. Win the division. Like, that is insane to me.
yeah,
I know it's not certain that they're gonna win, but all they really have to do is beat the Saints and then win one of the 2 games I think they have against the Bucks, if that's correct. They have 2 games up against the Bucks still, I think. Um, yeah, like, this is not like, the Bucks are in massive, massive trouble. They do not control their own destiny anymore, and that's unfortunate for them, but, like, this team outside of their playmakers, they're not good. They're not good. That defense is not good. Like, how can you pride yourself on defense, Todd Bowles, and then have that type of performance? Like, it's just, I don't know if the coach's message isn't getting through to the guys anymore, but it's not good. Like, Baker Mayfield, I will give him this. Baker Mayfield, I love Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is playing through something that is hurting him a lot right now, and he is not going to come out of the game no matter what, and you can see it. You can see it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I thought, was it last week when he got hurt? No, 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, I think that it was very obvious that he probably needed to miss time. He kind of alluded to it himself, where he said, "Hey, if I need to take a week off and that helps the team, I'll do that." And yeah, like he missed a very
He was
very
not gonna.
important well, he missed a very important throw last night, and that he said it himself at the end of the game in his
Yeah,
press conference. He had a chance to end the game with that pass, um, and he missed it. And that's the way the NFL works. Sometimes is you give the other team a chance, and they'll take it if they're ready to do it. And yeah, I think you're right. Like he's clearly being hampered by something, and I think it's gonna
this guy was the
yeah.
front runner for the MVP after 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, he looked great, and the team looked really good around him. Obviously, they've had injuries to the receiver position, but they're getting guys back. So yeah, if it's flipped now and Baker's the one who's hurt, it'll seriously hurt their chances going forward. And I think you're right. By the way, they do got 2 games up against the Panthers Bucks,
So,
fine,
yeah.
including Week 18. So it could come down to that game specifically, which could be very very interesting. But
Where's
yeah,
that
no,
where's
it's
that one home? Who's home in week
let me
18?
give me 2 seconds to confirm that. But
Yeah,
they play next week against each other, and then they play on in week 18. So yeah, the Panthers get a win this week, give them a huge chance going into their
they're
first
playing
game
the
next week.
Saints,
Yeah,
unless Tyler Shuck's gonna, tear
yeah.
them.
So week 16, Bucks are at home, or
Okay,
sorry,
so it's
Panthers are at home against the Bucks, and the final game,
is
week
in
18,
Tampa
is in
Bay,
Tampa
so
Bay. Yeah.
that's
So yeah,
interesting. You gotta if you're Carolina, you gotta take care of business at home, I feel like, and get the win, and then you have the division sealed up.
yeah,
So,
pretty much. Yeah, it's a
um,
good point.
I so moving on from that because that's an absolute disaster for the Buccaneers now, and it's just so actually no, I forgot we could have talked about one last thing about that game. Todd Bowles, uh, these are the post-game pressers that you live for. These are the moments that
Yeah.
you're happy to see because Todd Bowles went off on his team last night. I think he used the F word 7 times in 21 seconds or something, what someone counted,
It was
which is
bad.
just it was remarkable to watch, like, you're just expecting, like, we didn't get out of our this is also a robot for anyone that doesn't know. Like, Todd Bowles does not have any emotion ever, and for him to then go do this is just crazy. Like, he never does this, and then to go and swear 7 times in 21 seconds, like, but it sounded like in the most robotic way ever. Like, I don't know if you
Yeah.
like,
Well,
it
there were
was
people saying
not like
like, because again, he was like so defeated, like he was kind of like mumbling a little bit. Like I watched the first video, and all the comments underneath were like, "Is this AI?" Like no one could really
yeah,
like put it together because yeah, it was so like it just was. It
so
was
robotic.
very strange scene.
It
Yeah.
was not, there was no emotion in him swearing. It was just like, I'm swearing.
You
Like,
could tell he was just at a complete loss. Like
yeah.
I'm sure they thought they had that game in the bag, and it
Oh,
was just
yeah.
unfortunate errors that really cost them. And that's how it goes in the NFL. You really got to be at your best every week. And yeah, because any team we saw last week with the Bucks themselves, they go out, they lose to the Saints. And that
Yeah.
that loss right now that's their
Yeah.
season. Like you can say like, hey, the Falcons, haven't been as good this year, but they've always been
That's
competitive in divisional games. But
2 division losses
you would have
back-to-back weeks
100%.
that are just crazy.
You would have thought the Bucks would have came out with at least one of those wins. So it's
Yeah.
disappointing. Yeah.
A lot of big games in the docket this weekend. It feels
Yeah.
like playoff football's arrived. Packers, Broncos, Lions, Rams. That's a really, really exciting game. One quick thought. Do you have any quick thoughts actually on Philip Rivers playing in an NFL game at 44 years old as a grandfather, and he's gonna have to face the Seattle ferocious Seahawks
Yeah.
defense?
I mean, I'm excited to see it. I think it's definitely something that, like, obviously this season in the NFL has been kind of wild, but it's something that nobody expected. Obviously, like, I don't know what the obsession is. I brought this up on JD's show. Is like, it feels like there's a bit of a obsession with older quarterbacks and wanting again veteran presences to come in and help
This
teams win. You look at the Steelers bringing in Rodgers. Joe Flacco's been moved around. We talked about Cousins. There's been other guys I'm sure that are still sticking around teams as well. But like, it's just one of those things where it's like you couldn't have found. And I get it. Like, quarterback play is
hey,
the hardest thing to find in the NFL. But
listen, I
like,
understand.
there should be a guy
I'm
better than Philip Rivers at
I'm
44 out
laughing
there.
because your
Yeah,
point about old quarterbacks and play like it plays for the fans as well. It's the nostalgia,
yeah,
and it's exactly like a WWE return.
it's
Like,
so
it
true.
is exactly like
Yeah.
an old guy returning to the WWE, and it's just it plays, like,
They
everyone
almost
likes
shouldn't
it.
have announced it. Like, they should have just on Sunday, everyone would have been like, "Who is starting for the Colts? Is it Riley Leonard? Like, who is it gonna be? Is it Brett Rippon, who hasn't played in years either? Like, these are the only
Oh,
2 guys we
man.
know that they have on the roster." And then you hear like, "Oh my god, it's Philip Rivers music." That'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
you
Like,
give it some starting music or something, and his music it's
he's
in
gonna
Philip
come apparently he's
Rivers.
gonna wear 17, he's gonna wear a Daniel Jones number. Like,
Yeah,
people would have been
yeah.
like, "Who is that guy?" And then they would have known it's Philip Rivers. It would have been
Oh,
insane.
man.
But you're right, like, it definitely has, like, a dramatic flair to it. That's what makes it exciting. Like, do I expect the Seahawks to absolutely roll over the Colts this weekend? I
Yeah.
absolutely do. But, like, at the same time, I think
Uh,
it's gonna be a fun scene to see a guy who obviously loves football, and you're gonna see a huge smile on his face. He'll have a great press conference after if he lives through the game. Uh, but, like, yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I think that's pretty much the only thing I'm excited about watching in
and
that game.
no, but also, like, I have to say, like, the Colts are trying to win. Like, this is their last ditch effort to try and win. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
they don't believe Ryan Riley Leonard can win a game. Like, they're like, man, Philip Rivers might have a better chance of winning this game because we're in a playoff hunt still. Like, we're not just gonna like let the season go and like these guys go out there and battle for us for nothing. Like, we're gonna go sign someone that's gonna give us a chance. Like, Shane Steichen's offense. Like, Phil Rivers, like, knows this. Like, he's been in it for a while. Like, he's had that connection. So, like, I'm not shocked that Philip Rivers is the guy. I know I saw Cam Newton go to slap in the face to him that they didn't call him over Philip Rivers. How does your play style work with what Philip Rivers brings to what they want? Like, did you see Daniel Jones doing what you do, Cam Newton? Like, I don't like. I just
No, I
I
mean,
don't see the play style working. Like, it just doesn't fit.
no, they just realistically, like, they should have been, and I'm sure they were, like, they should just be looking for a guy who can hand off the ball to Jonathan Taylor and who can throw like a decent 10-yard pass
Did
because,
you
like,
watch Philip
realistically,
Rivers? Did you
I
watch
I
that?
I haven't seen
Oh,
I know there was some
he's got
footage
some
of
zip
him.
in that ball. He's
Yeah,
got some zip in that thing.
but
Like, it is
that's actually
crazy.
I mean, I hope that's true, but it's hard to believe because that was the thing, especially in that last year in Indianapolis. Like, he was having trouble getting the ball out. Like, I'd be
Yeah.
surprised if he all of a sudden found some hidden arm strength,
He
3,
doesn't look
4 years
bad,
later.
man. I know it's practice, but he doesn't look terrible. Like, he doesn't
Yeah.
look like, "Oh, I'm just going out and playing beer league football at 44 years old. Let's go run this thing
But
up." No, he looks
even if he was, like, the guy was one of the best in the league for a long
yeah,
time. Like,
he's
it wouldn't be the worst option. And I get what Cam's saying, but, like, yeah, like,
Cam's
you're
not
right.
that good, man. Cam's
The
not
play
Cam
style,
had one good year. Cam
yeah,
had one
yeah.
great year.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like, and especially, like, yeah, you get down to the red zone, or if you're in a 3rd and 10, like, come on, like, you need a guy who can still, accurately hit a receiver. And I think that's what they were looking for. It's like, yeah, you could go find another guy, a Brett Rippon type guy who maybe doesn't play very often, but like can kind of step in there and will know the playbook or whatever. But like, you said it, if they were already out of the playoff picture or whatever, like, yeah, they probably wouldn't even care who was the starter they're going to be
They're
this
probably
week.
letting
But
Riley Leonard
yeah, they're
develop.
probably letting him go
Like,
out there, just continue his development, even though he's hurt. But I think, yeah, like, because of the position they're in, they're like, hey, let's see if we can put magic in a bottle and see if we can
yeah.
get one more. If they get a win this week, which feels unlikely, it would set them up. Depending on what happens with the rest of the AFC, but they would obviously feel a lot better. Like, they just got to keep if they can keep putting wins together, they're going to be in the playoffs. But at this point,
Yeah.
looking at their schedule
I
too, which is pretty
mean,
tough.
Oh, they
it's
got a
hard not
gauntlet down the sketch.
it's hard not to
Like,
see them going 0-4 and then just being completely
oh
out of it.
man, it
So I
is
don't know.
bad. It is like it's Seattle, and then it's Seattle, then it's San Fran, then it's Jacksonville, and then it's Houston.
Yeah. Um,
Like
yeah, like
there's
it's hard not to view by week 18 that Houston will be past the Colts and probably in the playoffs. So like
oh,
it's going to be
they
one of
already
those things.
passed them. They already
Oh
passed them.
right, because they have the same amount of wins, I think, right?
Yeah,
But
they're
yeah,
tied right now, but they
yeah.
already passed them.
So
Jacksonville's 9-4. I can't see
yeah,
them losing to Indianapolis. They already beat them once this season.
yeah.
I don't see it. Okay, well, let's just wrap up the show there and not talk about anything else.
I know. I want to talk about your hat.
uh, yeah. So this is the final thing. New England versus Buffalo. It's in the 1 o'clock game. Screw CBS for paying for this game. Because this should be primetime Sunday night football once again. Who cares if it was a matchup earlier in the season? I don't care. Give it to me at prime time because this is the game of the week. The New England Patriots, who a lot of people think are still frauds, mind you, against the Buffalo Bills. And I've heard a lot of Toronto sports media this week talk about this game. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it was a different show, but I heard on your show, and if you don't already listen to Brandon on the radio, you probably should do that on Sportsnet Fan 590, JD Bunkus podcast. He is the producer. You guys talked about a little bit how the game wasn't as important this week. Like, it didn't matter as much. And let me just take a second and step back. If this was the opposite way around and the records were reversed, this game would matter so much to Buffalo fans. And it would be, let's prove to New England that we can put them down and they stand no chance against us. But since the division doesn't matter to you guys and you guys are all just like, let's do it in the playoffs, which I totally agree. Like the playoffs is only when it matters because, that's what they count up in Foxborough, just Super Bowls. Why does this game not matter as much to you guys? Like, why?
Well, I think the sentiment there was more so, like you said, from a Bills perspective, the division feels like it's out of reach. I know mathematically they could still win the AFC East. Hypothetically, you'd need obviously some help from the Patriots as well. But I think, yeah, when it comes down to it, I mean, I tried to make the point that the more important thing is just that the team looks like they're kind of putting things together. Whether or not they win the game or whether or not they lose, you just need to see a level of consistency that you didn't see last week against the Bengals. They looked very bad. I wouldn't say very bad, like they were fine, but they looked bad
They
in the
looked like the
first half.
Patriots. The Patriots and Bills
Yeah.
both played the Bengals
Yeah.
close. It
Yeah.
was scary.
And the Bengals, they for me, like right until late in the third quarter, maybe it was early in the fourth, when Christian Benford goes up and takes that ball away from
Yeah.
Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
basically. Until that point, I thought the Bills were going to lose that game. And at that point, it's like, are they even going to make the playoffs? Like they could have completely changed their
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, while yes, it would be great for them to win, excuse me, but I think the more important thing is that just like you said, keep it close, competitive game, show that they're in the same, echelon because yeah, for most of this season, New England's been the far better team, maybe outside of the first few games of the year. New England has clearly separated themselves, regardless of the schedule or whatever people want to say. Like they look like a great team and they look like them and the Broncos are the class of the AFC right now. And
I
so
don't know with the
it's
Broncos.
no, but
That's
in terms of, with the seeding and in terms of how the
yeah,
playoffs
sure,
could
sure. If
play out,
we're
in terms of
but
how the playoffs, like, if
I don't
if
care about
the,
the seeding because like
no,
we
but the
both
seeding,
know we both can sit here today and say who would you rather have in a playoff game, Buffalo or who are you picking in a playoff game, Buffalo or Denver? Both are picking Buffalo. Like, you know what I mean? Like Denver does not scare me one bit. Bo Nix is
that's
way too
fair.
inconsistent.
I'm not saying necessarily that I think like it's about, who's a better team or what, but I think if Denver ends up with like say the 2 seed and teams got to go to them and they're going to get, their
Yeah, I
say
guess.
the lower end of the playoff
Yeah, yeah.
in terms of they're going to
Sure.
get the 7th seed or whatever, like they're going to be lined up to be there in the, in the divisional round, in the championship round or whatever, right? So I think for me, like, yeah, you just want to see the Bills go out there and compete and play well. hope they get the win because yeah, it's going to make the division a lot more interesting going down the line. And then yeah, like, but to say that it doesn't matter, I guess you're right about that. Like, it definitely matters.
It
But I
matters
think
a lot.
the
It
more
matters
important,
a lot.
I think what we're trying to say is that maybe the result isn't as important. It's more about how it plays out, and I think that's kind of what the argument was. But like, you're right. Like, and especially now the Bills, we're seeing Bosa's probably not playing. Christian Benford is in a walking boot now after hurt in practice yesterday. Like, the already terrible and injured defense is going to be bad. And like, you guys are probably just going to
So,
run all over the Bills
y
at this point. So
yeah, I mean, like, we're probably gonna run the ball, which we've done all season. We've been a great running offense, which opens up everything else. Like, that's the thing. If you don't have a good running offense, like your or run offense, then you are screwed because it closes the playbook and you can't do much. But once you open up the playbook a little bit more, when you establish the run and you have to make the defense think about the run, then it opens up a lot more. That's where you're seeing Drake May take all these shots downfield. Yes, Drake May, I think, has been the best deep ball thrower in the NFL this season because it's like 75% of the time that he throws a deep ball, it's completed. So I the stats back it up. The thing is, like, this game matters a lot because, like you said, if New England wins, they win the division, and I think that's massive. I think it's massive for New England to at least get a 1 or 2 seed in this AFC because, like, who let me put it to you this way. Who would you rather go play, New England or Denver in the playoffs?
I mean, I'd prob I'd honestly, it's not. I know you think it's not as close as you think, but I do think it is closer than you think. The Bo Nix's not had as great of a year as he did last year, but I still think that they have some weapons and their defense. I mean,
Their
New Eng-
defense is all world, but if you can't make a throw, like, you just can't
yeah, but I mean, in the
like, you can't
playoffs,
win the
bro,
game,
like
like,
the playoffs is a whole different animal. It's not going to be as good as at times Denver does have some offense, but they're not bottom of the barrel, but they're also not the best in the world. So I think their offense is probably going to do enough to beat some of the teams in the playoffs, but it depends. Like you said, I'd probably rather go to New England to play in New England than I would rather go to Denver and play a playoff game there. Just the conditions alone, obviously,
yeah,
like
I
we
guess
don't know.
altitude if you're talking about that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then you
like,
add
I
in having to
understand.
go as an offense. If you're Houston, you don't want to go to Denver because then you're kind of matched up against your strength. You probably rather go to New
Yeah,
England,
but
try to shut their offense down, and then you have a chance to make plays on offense as well. Even though New England has a good defense on their own, I'm not saying that that's the
New England's
difference.
gonna be hurting this week, though. You're gonna be able to run the ball, I think. Like,
Yeah,
Buffalo has the best
they do.
run game in the NFL, and I think that
Yeah,
they're gonna be able to run the ball because Milton Williams is not in the lineup. So
yeah,
that's a massive body up front that I think you guys are gonna be able to expose.
yeah.
Um, I
And I do
I think
think
this
that
game
the
matters a lot.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think it is huge for the Patriots as well. Like that extra level of confidence, wrapping up the division, beating your rival in the Bills twice this year. You're really putting yourself in position to take it, potentially win the AFC. Like there's so much that I think matters more from a Patriots point of view. But like, yeah, like you made a good point about the Bills earlier. Is like if they win or lose this game, you still don't want to see them in the playoffs. So like I don't think it
But
really changes much from that point of view, unless they get blown out and the offense all of a sudden goes quiet
I
and it's
I
like, what the hell's
just
going on? But
I think
I
this game
still think,
matters more for the Buffalo Bills than what you guys are saying because, like, this game is like you guys have had the division for the last 5 years, right? Like, and
yeah,
now New England's back and arrived with another franchise quarterback and a good coach, and it's like, are we really just gonna let New England take back the division and rule the AFC East once again for the next, what, 10 years?
yeah,
I'm just,
no, for
like,
sure,
fixating on the fact that they're so young and they can build, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like Buffalo did back in 2019. You saw the
yeah,
evolution, the downfall of the New England Patriots at the end of Tom Brady's career, and then as Josh Allen came into his own, Buffalo took over the division, and they've been manhandling the division ever since. Like, that's the worry I would have with New England winning this game for if I'm a Buffalo fan. Like, what happens? Like, you're just gonna give up the division just like that? Like, and Drake May getting and this is okay. Also, the other thing is this is an MVP game. This is an MVP game. Whoever wins this game is going to be elevated in the MVP conversation. 100%.
I mean, May for sure, but I think the ship has sailed this on.
Allen's in the conversation now. He's like top 4.
I mean, yeah, he's in the conversation, but I
Stafford,
don't
it's
like.
May, and
I think it's
it's Allen and it's Love. Those are the 4.
yeah, like I subscribe to that a little bit. Like I think Drake May has a huge chance to go out if he has another great game. He can keep himself in that conversation with Stafford. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with him either, but I don't think that the MVP is really in play for Allen and the Bills. Like in terms of how they're going to view
If
going.
he goes
I
out there
think
and throws 350 yards, 4 TDs, you don't think that's an MVP style game? I
has
think it is.
MVP type game, but he hasn't had enough of those games this season to be able to say that that's going to elevate him into the top 2 of the conference. Like the same way that even if Drake May has a dud, he's done enough this year that I think he still would stay in that top
You
3 or,
think?
or top 2. Yeah, 100%,
Really?
100%. But also, but that's also part of the fact that I think Stafford has separated himself that much that I don't really know that even if Stafford just plays average, the next 4 games, like I think it's pretty much his unless something crazy happens from May or from Jordan Love. Like I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I could be convinced that yeah, like Drake May will be going to this game like, hey, this is another chance to go out and prove myself late in the year, divisional game, chance to wrap up the division, put myself into that conversation for sure, and they'll be
Yeah.
looking at that. But I think you're right. Like it's going to be a big game if it comes down to matter because again for the Bills they could win this game and still not win the division. They could win this game and still end up in the middle of the wild card. Like they're not. If this was a Week 18 game and it was like, hey, they're both at 12 wins, and it's like, okay, whoever wins this game gets the division, maybe gets a bye, gets home field advantage. Obviously, like it would be. I think that's where you're like, okay, a loss would be demoralizing on the Bill side because they would expect to win that game and be the team on top as they've been. But for the Patriots as an up and coming team, like it's all still gravy for them, and I'm sure like they want to win the division, they want to win the conference. But if they don't end up doing it, it's not going to. I don't think it's not going to hurt them that much. They're still going to be who they are. Vrabel seems to have that team humming no matter the situation. So I'm nervous about this game from a Bills perspective because, like I said, their
So, yeah, that's the other thing I wanna
defense.
ask. I really wanna ask.
Yeah,
I Okay, you said you'd rather travel to New England in the playoffs. Who are you more nervous to face, Denver or New England?
probably New England. Like I think the combination of offense and defense that they've been able to put together this year
And
really.
special teams.
Absolutely. Like they across the board, they've been very impressive. And it's been a huge jump from what they were in the past few years. Obviously last year you could see that there was room to make a jump. But I think with Denver, the only worry with Denver for me is like, okay, if Buffalo goes to Denver, you know,
Does the
their
offense
defense,
travel?
yeah, like the offense has to win that game because the defense is not the defense can't stop anyone right now. So
Yeah, yeah.
if it's going to come down to the offense, so I'd rather that offense play against even if it's slightly worse of a defense, I'd probably rather that to be the case than having to go up against the league's best, right? So like that's kind of where I'm at, but this year I'm not even convinced that as good as the offense has looked at times, they're not as good as they've been in the past where it's like okay, they can rattle off 35 on anyone. I don't think that's the case, especially in a playoff situation. So if their defense can't figure out how to hold teams to 24 or something like that, like they're going to be in real trouble when it comes to facing these top teams in the AFC.
Yep. Alright, as we wrap this up, give me your prediction and give me what, Josh Allen does in this game. I'll tell you what
Oh man,
Drake May
I
is gonna do in this game.
I mean it's so hard to come up with a prediction. I mean I'm gonna for sake of our dynamic here, I'm gonna take the Bills and I'm gonna say it's gonna be I'm
So
gonna
you
give
wouldn't
like
even
a.
take the Bills if you were just, like, doing this
No, not
just as
necessarily.
a
Not.
okay,
I'm saying like without having sat down and really like diving into it and
okay.
making a. If I'm placing a bet, I haven't done that yet. So, but like I said, obviously, like the two of us, like I think, I like there is a world where the Bills, of course, can win this game, and I think that for things to happen, I think that again the offense is going to have to be great, and the defense is going to have to figure out how to get at least a key stop somewhere in the red zone or somewhere along, the clutch times, which they did last week against the Bengals.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Bills. I'll say it's gonna be high. I'm gonna say the Bills will win this game. I'm gonna say 33-28.
You can
That's
smash the over in this game, I feel
I think
like. I
so.
feel like this is, This is like a 34-27 game.
Yeah, yeah,
It's gonna be a touchdown, game-winning touch. It's gonna be like 27-27 New England. I'm obviously predicting New England to win
for
the game,
sure.
but it's gonna be 27-27 with like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and someone's gonna have to go down and score a touchdown. Like, it's gonna be a tight game, and the reason you're probably gonna see a spread not be covered is because someone's gonna score a game-winning touchdown.
Don't. For,
Um,
hey, I don't know if you've seen the odds, but the Bills are favored in this game, even on
Hey,
the
they're
road.
favored by a
Uh,
1.5, which is
uh,
crazy to me.
uh,
Crazy.
yeah, I don't understand how, especially at home, the Patriots aren't at least 2.5 point favorites in this game. It's kind of wild to me, but that's
It
the
makes me
respect.
worried because everyone's going to take the Patriots now.
That's the respect, and I think that's part of it too. Is I think Vegas is trying to bait people into taking the Patriots maybe at plus money. So maybe they do believe maybe that the Bills are going to win this game, but yeah, it's hard to have that kind of confidence. Like I'm surprised this isn't a pick 'em or
That's
better
what I
for the
mean.
home
I'm
team.
surprised
So
not pick them, like, at
yeah,
least at the minimum, like, even like a 1 point favorite for the New England Patriots. Um, what does Josh Allen do?
yeah. I mean, I think he'll play well. He obviously has to. Um, I'm gonna say he's gonna have. I don't think they're gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be as successful in the pass game. I think he's gonna have. I'll say he's gonna have. Say they win 33-28. That was my prediction. He's gonna have 275 passing yards. He'll have 65 rushing yards with another passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. That's where I would say. I don't know that he's gonna go out and throw an immaculate game, but I think he will do enough, like I said, to get the win, and maybe some of that has to be in his legs.
Drake May is going to throw for 350 yards. He's going to get 3 touchdowns passing, and he's going to rush for, I don't know, probably 50, 60 yards as well. No rushing touchdowns, though.
Yeah, I mean, you did allude to it. I think this should be a game for the Bills where they feed James Cook, give him the ball, let him get a couple tuds, 150 yards if you can. That's how they win this game, and then you let Josh Allen play off of that. Like that's how they need to be looking at their offense in terms of how
Yeah,
to
last
really
time
attack a
these
team.
last time these two teams met, Travion Henderson was not unlocked either.
That's true. And the Bills defense, like especially their rushing defense, like I said, the Patriots have every opportunity to run all over them, and so that's why I think it's unlikely that Drake May throws for that kind of number. But that doesn't mean he can't have a great game and throw 250 yards. It's
Yeah,
still in the cards. Yeah,
yeah, like he averages to what, 80, I think, a week. Like it's not this whole 300 thing is like really making
yeah.
people mad.
They probably aren't going to ask him to throw that much, like unless they
I,
absolutely get into a point where they have to.
the other thing is like 70 of those yards could be made on one play. You know what I mean? Like he could hit a 50-yard a post route and just hit someone for a tutty and like you know what I mean like that's where I think because that's where the game I think is going to get opened up and that's why I think there's going to be a lot of points scored is because they're going to establish run games and then it's just going to be like over the top one play and then immediately after like the other team's just going to respond like you know what I mean like it's just going to be back and forth. I'm so excited for this game, man. It's going to be so fun to watch. I
Yeah.
cannot wait.
Yeah, if last
um
week's game against the Bengals with the Bills is any evidence, it's like, yeah, you get into the late stages, like the third quarter, you get into the fourth, and it's like the Bills feel this urgency where they got to move down the field quickly, and then yeah, their defense can't stop anyone. So the Bengals were moving the ball quickly too. Like there's a lot of action. I expect pretty similar this week.
I've been watching a lot of Drake May tape, especially on the last time they played the Buffalo Bills. Man, that pass to Stephon Diggs is so beautiful still on the sideline when he I don't know how he made that throw because like his momentum going out of bounds is so fast, and yet he makes a perfect pass to Stephon Diggs. And I think that was like on third down too, which is just crazy to even think about. But anyway, that does it for this podcast. It was a good podcast talking about the NHL and NFL mainly. A lot of topics, like we said. Stuart Skinner off the top traded to the Edmonton Oilers, in a lateral move that honestly does or no, I said Stuart Skinner traded the Edmonton Oilers. Huh. No, it is Tristan Jarry trade to the Edmonton Oilers in a lateral move that just doesn't make any sense. And then, we have the Leafs hiding information, Fowler's debut in Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens there. And in the NFL, we have 44-year-old Philip Rivers, the grandfather, about to get his absolute work cut out for him. against the Seattle Seahawks defense. And then the biggest game of the week, the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. Who will win? Anyways, thank you for listening. Episode 44 of the Second Look Sports Podcast. You can check it out on Instagram or Twitter for social clips. And then you can do Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube to listen to the show. And we will see you next time. Peace.